Making his way to the cage first, fighting out of the blue corner from Finland, here is Jamba!
And straight into our next professional contest fought in the bantamweight division. First up, Janne-Elonen Kulmala. He is representing Espoon Kaihat from Finland. He has a record of 4-2 and is just 22 years of age. A lovely bit of matchmaking ahead of us here with two young fighters with similar records, both making positive progress through their domestic ranks. Jamba has enjoyed a great 8-week training camp, working mainly with stablemates Michael Cylinder, Johnny Salovara and Nicholas Vinberg. He feels he is better than his world opponent in all areas and is going to look for the finish this evening.
Yeah, he is a southpaw. He's been around a while, but surprisingly doesn't actually fight all that often. He's got a really good penetrating takedown shot on him, and he scrambles and transitions for his takedowns really, really well. So look for him to put this fight on the floor here tonight.
I heard somewhere, or perhaps read somewhere, that he's also attained his blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So he's working all the different disciplines very, very hard indeed. You need to get everything set if you're going to start to make a claim on the European scene. Yeah,
certainly. He's got a very good, speaking of his jiu-jitsu, John, he's got a very good passing and pin game. He's very good at securing those positions before trying to move on and mount any offense, which is, you know, all important in this kind of no-gi environment where it's just that much harder to hold a sweaty, aggressive opponent down.
Same stable as Veinikanen, who we saw in Beirut. Good to see that fight team back with us.
And his opponent tonight, fighting out of the red corner from the United Kingdom, here is Kris Edwards.
And the silhouette you see before you is of Kris Des Edwards. He is representing Tillery Combat from Wales, has a record of 6-3 and is 22 years of age. Now, he pretty much lets his coach Richard Shaw deal with everything. The guys down at Tillery Combat have got everything in place to make a very, very good thrust onto the European scene. The bigger the test, the better I perform, were the words from Kris Edwards, and he has got a very, very stiff test ahead of him here under the bright lights of Cage Warriors.
Yeah, it certainly does. He is a finisher, though. He's only been to a decision once in his career. Also a very, very active fighter, fighting 4 to 5 times a year. His specialty, also the ground, 4 submissions from 6 wins. Bit of a fan of chokes is Kris Des Edwards.
Yeah, he's ranked 8th in Europe right now. The only blemishes on his record are to Scott Pooley and Paul Reed. But he has taken some very decent scalps in James Brum, Spencer Hewitt, Chris Gary and Greg Knapp. Some big names on there, Josh.
Yeah, certainly is, John, and one of those big names we're going to see later tonight. Can't wait to see him step up.
Kris has fought for 4 domestic pro titles in the UK, so he will hopefully take that experience to good effect this evening.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 3 rounds in the bantamweight division. And we introduce to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 134 3/4 pounds. A young professional, he brings a professional record standing 4 victories and 2 defeats. From Espoo, Finland, here is Jamba! His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 6 inches tall. He weighed in 135 1/2 pounds. As a professional, his record stands 6 victories and 3 defeats. He fights out of Abertillery, Wales. Here is Kris Edwards. Referee in charge of the action, Neil Hall.
So Neil Hall, our experienced referee, to officiate this encounter. 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. Kris Des Edwards in the black with yellow and Jamba in the white with black. So a kick from Edwards was answered by the closing of the distance from Jamba.
Yeah, good strikes to entry from the Finnish fighter.
What we know of the guys from Finland, and to say the same for Scandinavia, is they love the ground game, Josh.
Yeah, and we've seen some fantastic performances from the Scandinavians here at Cage Warriors lately, just really taking the grappling to the next level. But body triangle from the bottom here for Chris Edwards.
BJJ specialists like Lucio Linares making their travels over to Finland.
Oh, nice high guard from Chris Edwards, looking to really isolate one of those shoulders.
Good wrist control there from the Welshman.
Oh, very nicely flaring the elbow is Jamba to stop that high guard.
Yeah, good posture. Very calm and collected, both of these young fighters, still only 22.
Double wrist control for Chris Edwards, looking to get the armbar. Hips out very nicely, but Jamba seeing that coming. Really, both fighters very composed in this position and really putting all the little nuances and grips and weight distributions to use here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see quite a technical battle, Josh. Edwards doing well with neutralising any of the assaults from Jamba.
The problem with that double wrist control, if your opponent spots it, is it does leave you open for the elbow over the top. Yeah,
sure thing.
But using the cage now to try and sweep is Chris Edwards. He's almost worked his way to the back. Jamba's going to have to get that right elbow back across his body quickly. It's in a lot of danger here. And doing so well.
Yeah, good counter with his left arm, opening up the space.
It's hard enough to break someone's guard open from a closed guard, but a body triangle from the bottom really starts to squeeze the life out of you.
Edwards gets his shin in. It wasn't the sweep that was going to be successful, so back to pretty much an open guard.
He's been really probing with that guard, not giving Jamba a chance to posture and throw any kind of ground and pound at all.
Well, Neil Stanson back up, not enough activity for his liking. Oh, a good counter left hand by Jamba.
Really like how crisp both these guys are fighting at the moment. As you said, a very tactical battle on the floor.
Those stand-up exchanges.
Oh, big pickup from Chris Edwards, though, low around the hips.
Nicely done by the Welshman.
Searching for the Kimura now is Jamba, and using it to sweep beautifully.
That was nicely done.
Yeah, as soon as he let his opponent pass, he moved to north-south and used the leverage to just get the reversal.
Showing his blue belt credentials there.
Arming guillotine attempt for Chris Edwards now.
Easy pop out for Jamba. Straight away the referee is looking for some more action, and that looked like a nasty elbow, just glancing the forehead. Maybe Edwards just got his head out the way.
Yeah, Jamba starting to try and get some strikes from the top position off now.
Yes, we can see his intention. Always looking for things though,
very nice
Edwards.
Guard work from Chris Edwards. He's managed to push through for a triangle. He has still got the hand trapped inside, but Jamba in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, good work from Edwards. Cinching things up, moving the arm across.
Well, Jamba's going to have to be very cognizant here because Chris Edwards has locked this up very, very tightly. All he really needs is a bit more of an angle. He's doing it by grabbing the leg. Very nice jiu-jitsu from the Welshman. Jamba's got a good frame in with that right arm. He's trying to create a bit of space on the artery. Only 35 seconds left for Chris Edwards to put this triangle to use here.
You're the ground fighting expert, Josh. How tight does this look from this angle?
Oh, he's in... Jamba's in a lot of trouble here. He's done a good job of getting the arm back to try and alleviate some of the pressure, and I think he has still got his left hand trapped through to open up a... Oh, no, sorry, he hasn't.
Edward keeps working on that guard, on looking up across the shin. Is that where he needs to make the changes?
10 seconds left. Hail Mary armbar perhaps now, just to try and make use of it, but very composed defense from the Finnish fighter.
Well, and you can see he grabbed his own wrist, probably predicting that armbar might come. But that was some good defensive work by Jamba.
Oh yeah, awesome technical display from both guys on the ground. I'm really impressed with how active the guard of Chris Edwards is. I mean, it's not, it almost looks as though it's quite loose, but combined with that wrist control and really driving his thighs and his shins up high under Jamba's armpits, he's doing a good job of making him think about every single weight transition there is.
Yes, both of these young men looking very composed, very technically savvy. And impressive first round, which perhaps was going to Jamba in the first half, but certainly Chris Des Edwards must have nicked it with a very solid submission attempt.
Real tough one for the judges to call there, because Edwards was incredibly active off his back, and Jamba didn't get that much offense off. He may have got the sweeps and the takedowns, but you know, the top position doesn't count for a whole lot if you're not the one being that active.
Yes, and that inactivity saw them stood up. Well, this second round is about to get underway. Remember, text 93375, 1 for the blue corner, 2 for the red corner for info to sell. The winners will be selected at random. All good short lefts from the southpaw, Jamba.
Looking to reap the leg now is Chris Edwards, picking it up to grab the single, and using the Uchimata counter is Jamba, who finds himself again in the guard of the Welshman.
Nice dynamic judo from the Finn.
Yeah, it was an excellent counter to the single leg attempt from Chris Edwards.
That's a fantastic camp. Espoon, Kayahat. Oh, here come some of those big left hands that we've seen Jamba win contests with. You can tell as he key eyes with every throw to really get the force behind them. 2 elbows going to the head of Chris Edwards as he's forced with his head back against the fence in front of his cornerman.
Yeah, interesting move from Jamba. We've seen a trend lately of fighters really using the cage very well to stand back up, which has stopped you wanting to put their head in the cage, but I think Chris is going to be happy on the ground here, so Jamba's able to use the cage to really limit some of his hip movement.
Well, we've seen that Edwards is happy to be on his back, but this round he's eaten a couple of shots.
Yep, searching for the guillotine now.
Yeah, this is now looking to get a little bit more height to try and plant his feet, but again, it looks like Jamba's a couple of steps ahead, even when he is in trouble.
Yeah, probably a good stand up there from our referee, Neil Hall. Action just stalling a tad.
Good left hook from Edwards. And good activity, but as soon as he's thrown, Jamba closes the space.
Yeah, double underhooks again for the Finnish fighter. Back to over-under now. Single leg attempt.
Nicely
for
done.
Jamba. He's going to get caught in the scramble if he's not careful, though.
Nicely done by Edwards, stepping over. Trying to get straight to mount, but caught in half guard.
Yeah, half guard for the Finn. Let's see if he can really get on his side, drive that right underhook deep. Start to turn it a bit more offensive.
Maybe Edwards is going to work on that right arm. It is the weaker arm of Jamba. Or is he going to do the short, glancing elbows, sliding
really heavy weight distribution from the man from Tillery Combat.
And Edwards is now using his body weight to isolate that arm, and he's got a figure four.
Keep turning down. Straight armbar now. Let's see if he can. Oh, lets it go though, but it's given him the underhook control. Uses it to step to mount and to the back beautifully. Jamba's got a minute and a half here.
Oh, this
to watch out for the rear naked choke.
This is lovely Brazilian jiu-jitsu from 2 young fighters. Nicely adapted for mixed martial arts as well.
Chris Edwards has had some lovely transitions here. He realised that the submission attempt possibly wasn't going to come off, used it to secure that underhook, rode out the escape attempt, and finds himself in a good dominant top position here. A bit more ground and pound perhaps to open up the guard of Jamba.
And Edwards is showing through the second round why he is the more highly ranked fighter.
Well, for the second round in a row, John, Jamba finds himself in the last minute really having to defend the grappling onslaught of Kris Edwards.
40 seconds left. Body triangle in place. A decent amount of time for Edwards to work for the rear naked. He would like more. Softening up Jamba at the moment. Surely he's got to be there. There it is. Trying to sneak his left or right hand through, and I think he's looking for the left, but again, good defense from Jamba.
Yeah, Jamba's got 2 on 1. He's
Last
turning
10.
the right way, trying to get away from that choking arm, drop his other side to the mat.
End of the round.
Well, again, a round of 2 halves there. Jamba with the top position early on, but Kris Edwards really ending the round in style.
Yeah, Edwards did very, very well there to get the positions. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to finish him, but that's because Jamba has some very, very good defensive jiu-jitsu. I think that the Welsh corner are looking fairly happy with that. Glancing across at one another with nods of the head is a positive signal. Jamba only bringing one cornerman, one trusted cornerman with him. I think that may be Nicholas Venberg. So here we go, third and final round. Bantamweight clash for our Facebook prelims here at Cage Warriors Fight Night 5 in Amman, Jordan.
For the first time in this fight, we're seeing a prolonged period of stand-up here.
Jamba doesn't want to stand. He's clearly looking for the openings to clinch, Josh. And if Edwards is going to strike, he needs to strike and move off very quickly.
He's having some success with that straight left hand, though. It's done a good job.
Oh, and he got a good right. That came right down the middle. Clipped the chin of Jamba.
Oh,
and
again, that left.
I have seen Jamba knock people out with that left hand. And he's certainly come to life.
Yeah, straight down the middle. It's landing now. Knees from the Finnish fighter. Good tie clinch. Kris Edwards forced to really close the distance. If he can connect his hands here, he's going to dump Jamba once again.
Tried to clear to side control, but only gets as far as half guard.
Same Kimura setup that Jamba used in the second round, just on the opposite side of the body here.
Edwards trying to use a shin across the face.
And again, Jamba successfully uses that Kimura grip
and he
to
keeps
sweep the
following
Welshman.
round. He's going all the way round with it, Josh.
Oh!
It is right the way round.
Lovely
and Edwards,
jiu-jitsu from Jamba.
Edwards in a really bad spot here. Unable to move his head now. Wow, that's all the way round. What a terrible shoulder lock.
Wow,
He's
how did Kris Edwards get out of that Kimura attempt? But Jamba straight on the back. Let's see if he can get the hooks. He's got a lot of time to work here.
Gutsy effort from Edwards.
Really, it really was, John, because that was a great angle to finish it. He had a good solid 90 degrees and really put a lot of effort into cranking that shoulder.
A little concern from the Tillery Combat corner.
Oh, but he's fallen off the top here. Kris Edwards rewarded with the top position for his defense.
Well, Kris Edwards is certainly earning fans as every second clocks down here at Fight Night 5. A lovely showing by this young man. Some great jiu-jitsu from Jamba, but neither of these fighters are able to finish anything at the moment.
No, here we go. Jamba's trying to get up on his side and use that underhook.
Good pinning technique there from Edwards, firing through some straight rights. Edwards is trying to creep his arm round, using some pressure on his head to try and get that arm triangle. Jamba doing well to put his arm in a more safe position. Good shoulder pressure from Edwards, and he's now looking to utilize some elbows, whilst at the same time get his leg free for the mount. Nearly through, and he is successful. Edwards in the mount position. Let's see what he's got from here.
Back control again for the Welshman. Wasn't able to finish with the last minute of the second round. Let's see if he can work his way to a submission victory here. Oh, body triangle again.
And he's fighting, Edwards is fighting to get his right hand free. Throwing in some shots right now. Jamba doing well to defend the rear naked choker drill. I'm sure he's been through hundreds of times during training. But Edwards is getting it as far as across the nose, not under the chin where it really needs to be. All the while peppering Jamba with shots.
Yeah, it's a good composed performance from both guys, but Chris Edwards really is the one who's had those defining moments. A bit of a worry
there it is,
for
Josh.
him.
That does look like he snuck it under the arm.
No,
That's under the chin, I'm sorry. Jamba again doing very well. What a mature performance from both of these guys. I failed to hear the clapper, I'm sorry. That is the end of the contest, as both fighters, they know they've been in an arduous affair. I think Edwards is happy with his performance. There was a thumbs up to some personnel cage side here, but a tough one for the judges to keep pace with the offensive and defensive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. For my reckoning, it was Kris Des Edwards that just managed to do a little bit more through that second and third round. A bright start from Jamba, who was very much in the contest the whole way through. But I am not a judge, and very shortly their decision will be rendered. So as we wait for the fighters to be called to the center of the cage, we just consider that both of these guys at 22 years of age have such a bright future ahead of them. I think that takes Edwards into his 10th
after 3 rounds. We go to the scorecards, and we have a unanimous decision. All 3 judges in favor of your winner. From Abertillery, Wales, Kris Edwards.